500,000 birds, 2 million fish, now 200 cows, 400 crabs. My God, are these the sign of the end of times? We're going to talk about what you're thinking. And here to talk about this, we have our guest. We have Dwayne Benton and a student from Central High School, Lauren Taylor Smith. Guys, tell me, what do you think with all of this stuff going on? Okay, you've heard all the things I've just mentioned. I mean, 5,000 birds.
Wow.
2 million fish. Now we just heard, what, 200 cows?
That's crazy.
And then 400,000 crabs. Mm-hmm. I mean, are these signs of the end of times? Mm-hmm. You know, are these some signs, or is that something that's just happening? Or you think it is?
I really think it is.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't now. So
I think the people do know, because with all this stuff happening, I don't understand how everybody came to this one conclusion: it's the end of Earth, unless they knew something in their mind. Yes, this is it. I'm not saying it's going to start tomorrow, but it is beginning, you know, the process of the end of time.
So do the students at Central High, do they talk about like it's the end of time? Do they
a lot of people do talk about it, but then there is a lot of uncertainty also. A lot of people don't believe in God. A lot of people just don't know enough. They're Christians, but they don't know enough about the end of time. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't read their Bibles. I mean, we are high school students. We don't know as much as we should know.
And go to church just as well still and don't know.
But I think we need to go back. We need to talk about end of time.
Yes.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't have an understanding of what end of time really means.
Yeah, well,
exactly. Break it down.
What's the end of time? And I think the world sees that. So you're saying Armageddon is coming and we're all going to be destroyed and this, that, and that.
They don't know what Armageddon is.
Right. That's not the end of time. The end of times mean the end of the evil reign.
Yes.
It's time that Christ return and restore peace in the earth.
Exactly.
Period. Not just in America, but all over the world. So yeah, you're going to see things like this developing. And these are indicators. Mm-hmm. And like I said, somebody said, do you think Jesus is on the way? I think Jesus is in a hotel waiting to unleash some stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's got to restore order. He's got to do
it. But do you believe, even for the unbeliever, would this be like an awakening to say, man, I mean, something has got to be going on here? I mean, even if they don't believe in God, I mean, this is just too much.
They don't have time.
Well, I'm saying this is too much for somebody to just ignore and say, this is just something that just randomly happened. I mean, does it? I mean, I don't think we're unbelievers, but would an unbeliever think that this has to be something?
I think I think it may click for some of them, but in so many people,
I think that's what I'm saying. Clicking. Does it click?
Yeah. In some people it may, but in these times, the way that America is now, we're so stuck on the individual and the independence that many people believe, I don't have to believe in anything.
Right.
I'm an empowered person. I pay my own bills. I do this, I do that. I do so much for myself that they don't believe that they have to believe in someone else, that someone else can actually decide their fate for them. So for some people, they're too stuck in themselves to actually allow themselves to go that far and say, yes, I need to believe in God.
So you're saying, really, I think this is a prime example how a lot of us will be hell-bound. Because we're going to miss the signs.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to miss what God is trying to do. And we're so preoccupied with our own lives, I guess, like Taylor was saying, that we're going to miss it.
I think even if it does click, it'll only click momentarily.
Yeah.
Because the media come back and say this, that, and the other, and we just say, oh, well, the media has said, so I'll just blow it off. Nothing's going to happen, or just go on with my everyday life. Now, if something devastating was to happen,
but isn't this devastating? I mean, it's not what
it grabs your attention, but then when
2 million fish.
Okay, let's use this as an example. And I know if somebody may disagree with my statement I'm about to make here, but when 9/11 happened, there was love everywhere.
Wow.
There was love.
There was kumbaya and
the
love ring out.
Everywhere.
And then a few days later, everybody went back to their
to
houses and back to, I don't know you, don't come over here.
Yeah.
And it's the same situation. But there will come a time when somebody's going to have to stand up and say, And I hate that we don't have media who are Christian believers. Because the media is just pretty much about, they're not focused on any kind of God.
Yes.
They have a little faith segments in the news, but it's really not what they want to push.
Yeah.
So when we hear the stories of devastation and earthquakes and volcanoes erupting and all that, oh, it's just due to happen. You know, it's been 100 years now, so it's coming again. Nah.
Well, I tell you what, let's go to Exposed on the Road, and let's see what the people in the community have to say about this.
You heard about the fish and the birds that have died in the last week or so?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
And what do you think about that?
You know, I just don't really think it's that big of an issue. Personally, I think, you know, just from speaking with other folks, that it probably happens more than, you know, they like to report in the news. And personally, I just feel like everybody's starting to begin to look for signs of the end times, just because it kind of correlates with the whole 2012, December 21st theory.
So you don't believe that it's a sign from God?
I don't personally.
Do you believe in God?
Yeah, I do.
Do you believe in heaven and hell?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
So if you were to die today, where do you think you would end up?
I'd say heaven.
Heaven.
Yeah.
So you're a Christian?
Yeah.
So if you were to die today, where do you think you would go, heaven or hell?
I don't know.
So where do you think? So where do you think your children would go?
I won't want them to be die today. So.
But at some point, we're all going to die. But the question is, do you think they would go to heaven or hell, or you just don't believe in heaven or hell?
I don't quite believe that, so sorry about it. But I'm not a Christian. I'm not religious, so because different religions have different explanations, so it's hard to say. So.
Okay, thank you for your time. Have you heard about the fish and the birds that have died in the past few weeks? What do you think about it?
Well, not much. I think it's just part of ecology and nature.
So you don't think it's a sign of the times from God?
I don't believe it is, no.
You don't? Do you believe in God?
I absolutely do.
Do you believe in heaven and hell?
I do.
So if you were to die, where do you think you would go?
Go to heaven.
Do you have children?
I do.
And where do you think they would go?
To heaven.
What do you think about the fish and the birds that have been dying in the past few weeks?
Well, as most things, I think there's something behind it. Birds don't just fall out the sky, and fish don't just die like that.
So do you think it's a sign of the times?
No.
You don't?
I mean, well, I don't, I'm not trying to say just what it is. I'm saying that it's abnormal, it's not natural, and there's something behind it. And for me, there might have been something that we as humankind has possibly done to make that happen, but I'm not sure what that is, but I don't want to enter a zone to say, oh, this is I don't want to get spiritual about something that may be very natural, and I'm not sure. The ice age, all the things that happen in nature, could this be just a happening? But for that many birds to just fall out of the sky. I have been in certain geographical locations in the country where the extermination of black birds particularly was part of the eco plan. And there was a type of something that was laid out. The birds would consume that and they would die because they were roosting. But that was part of an eco plan. It wasn't just a dropping out of the sky. So when I saw it, I said, a little interesting. And then you add to that the fish. So something is going on.
Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do. But I'm a minister. I'm from the Vanderbilt Divinity School. And so yes, I do. But everything that happened is not the result of something spiritual. There are things that we do, that we cause. I believe that God has given us dominion, which means he's given us responsibility. So when things happen or don't happen, we have a lot to do with those things that happen and don't happen.
Sheila, how did you feel? I mean, that was absolutely amazing. I mean, we think we know people in our community that, well, we know people, everybody don't believe in God.
Yes.
But how did it feel to interview people that told you face to face that, I don't believe in God. I don't think that, not only do I not believe that this is a sign, I'm not even a Christian. I'm not even a believer. How did that make you feel?
It truly hurt my heart because it's sad to see that people walking around all day, every day. We've got gospel music, we've got the news, we've got preachers, we've got the word,
Lord,
and people still don't believe. It hurts.
Yeah.
Because they're going to end up dying and going to hell because they don't believe. And it's so easy to believe, but they'll believe everything else, but we won't believe the word of God. So it hurts. It's a hurting feeling.
Why is there so much disbelief? Are we as believers doing our job? Can we are we the blame for this as believers, that there's an overwhelming? You think we are?
I think we have partial blame, but as a child, you're taught what you're taught. And if your parent isn't teaching you this, if they're not living right, you only gonna learn from your parents. When you're really young, that's your biggest influence.
But is that an excuse? Well, I grew up in a home where we didn't go to church, and I mean, is God going to say, you know, when you come before Him, well, okay, you were excused. I mean, your parents weren't the greatest,
no,
so you know, I mean.
But there are other Christians. Like, say, I'm a young adult. I have my parents. I have my peers. If I have peers all around me that say we're Christians, but y'all walking around cussing and fighting, so I'm like, okay, they're Christian. That's what they do. So I guess I can do that too.
So we're
influenced. My mom is saying we're Christians, but she's over here, you know, like I said, cussing and doing all this stuff, drinking and whatever. I'm like, well, she's a Christian. I can do that. And why would anyone feel as though they should be saved if there are people out there that say they're Christians doing what I'm already doing? So why do I need to be saved anyway? So that's maybe how most people see it.
And then, like on the road, the gentleman with the 2 kids.
Right.
He doesn't believe.
He didn't know where his children was.
And those 2 little bitty babies, they don't have an opportunity to even know about Christ.
But I think as they get older, we go out and we meet people, so we're still going to be held accountable because at some age, they'll hear and they'll know.
Are we going out, though?
Well, even if you don't go out, they may meet somebody in a classroom, or you may turn on a sermon. Some people get saved and accept Christ through the TV.
That's true.
And they've never believed in the Holy Spirit grabs their hold of their spirit, and then they believe, they hear and they believe. So some of it is our fault, but there are times, I think, as you get older, even if your parents never taught you, you're out and about, you're going to hear about Jesus Christ.
That's the point I was going to make.
Whether you
that's
accept,
really important to know, because no matter what we're taught, the Bible says that the word shall be taught in all 4 corners of the earth. So whether your mom or dad or school teacher, whoever teaches you, that it will be out there for you to get it.
That's right.
You're going to have to be responsible, because as I heard grandmama and all folks say, you're going to have to stand before God for yourself. So we all have to stand individually, but again, those who are hindering, who cause those who are on the edge of or the brink of belief, and you hinder that, teaching these prosperity movements, teaching this, get it right now, and when I get to heaven, and you know, preachers can live like this, but you'll get your mention when you get to glory. All that stuff is going to have to reconcile. You're going to have to reconcile all that with God. All the people who teach those kind of ways of life, that's not what God promised. Those are not the promises.
I'm glad you said that. Let me read some that I found in Hosea. And God holds us accountable even for the things that just took place, okay? So this is Hosea chapter 4, verses 1 through 5, and it says, "Hear the word, O Lord, O people of Israel. The Lord has filed a lawsuit or a complaint against you, listing the following charges," okay? It says, "There is no faithfulness, no kindness, no knowledge of God in your land." Okay, I'm just talking about America, okay? In your land. He says, "You swear and lie and kill and steal and commit adultery. There is violence everywhere and one murder after another." Now, this is one that gets me right here, verse 3. It says, "That is why your land is not producing. It is filled with sadness, and all living things grow sick and die. Animals, birds, and even the fish will begin to disappear." Now, this is in Hosea. Now, check this out. He says, don't point your finger at someone else and try to pass the blame on to them. He says, look, I'm pointing the finger at you.
Wow.
So this is in here. I mean, the animals are going to be sick and they're going to die. The birds and the fish, God spelled it out, and He gave it to the prophet. And it's like, you know, so even in this, we read this and we say, man, please, this is just something.
He took it out of context.
Yeah, you know, he just talking about something else. No, this is relevant. I mean, to right now, even, and as Taylor was saying, I think, you know, I'm saddened by this, because a lot of our children are going to go to hell because the parents are not looking at the signs, and we're not teaching our children. So the children grow up and be like, oh, this no big deal. You know, I'm hanging out at the club. I mean, so what? 2 million fish died. So what? You know? And we were looking at television. I'm not going to say the guy's name. And he's in these movies like End of Time stuff, and I guess I gave it away right then. But anyway, when they interviewed him, he was like, you know, what do you think about this? He said, well, you know, you guys should have got a veterinarian. I mean, this has nothing to do with me. I mean, this was a perfect opportunity for him to say, you know, yeah, we are moving. We may not be there, but we are moving in the direction